Today's card today is Wizard Spellbook. 5 generic and a blue for an artifact with tap, exile target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard, important to note. Roll d20, activate only as a sorcery. Okay. 1 through 9, copy that card, you may cast the copy. 10 through 19, copy that card, you may cast the copy by paying 1 generic rather than paying its mana cost. And 20, aka critical hit, I guess that's how you want to think of it. Copy each card exiled with Wizard Spellbook. You may cast any number without paying their mana cost. I think is a particularly interesting way of phrasing it, or maybe it's just a phrasing that I'm not used to. Yeah, this is a cool card. I think generally in turn 7 we're going to get this out. Maybe if you're not cheating it in. I think it'll be somewhat interesting to use at just like a small graveyard hate piece against perhaps blue-red decks. Which is kind of ironic because I think those decks are generally having a not too hard of a time getting rid of this, and then having all those cards you exiled with it just sort of mute, because once they're exiled with this and then this leaves play, it's going to be a new game object, so it's not going to be able to use those spells again. So, that's cool. That's fine, right? Everything has some way of being removed or answered. 1 through 9, copying that card for its mana cost, it's okay. Kind of like a blue, kind of like a Phyrexian Arena in a sense where you can sort of draw an instant or sorcery. I don't think there's been a game, or too many games at least, where there hasn't been a player playing at least 1 or 2 instants. So in that sort of effect, and of course this is like a sorcery you can play each turn because it's just exiled under Wizard Spellbook. So that's fine, that's okay. I don't think it's worth 7 mana, but having that option is nice because it has other options, sort of like a modal spell in that sense. 10 through 19, copy that card. You may cast a copy by paying 1 rather than its mana cost. This is probably where you want to be. 50-50 chance essentially for the first option, and then this option. Paying 1 for that spell is going to be huge. Especially if you're playing 1 for like those huge large instant sorceries. Like a Mind Over Matter or something like that. Wait, that's an enchantment, I'm sorry. Peer Through the Abyss, something like that, paying 1 for. Ooh, that's going to be sweet. I mean, but at this point, if you haven't cheated it in, you're at 7 mana, it's like paying 1 probably isn't too big of an issue. This essentially acts just like a card advantage spell, but if you're at turn 7 and playing that, not gonna matter too much. So that's neat. That's something you probably want to get most often. That way you have mana up to do your blue things, because this is 7 mana, you're tapping out for it. You probably want to use your other blue spells to like interact with other people or something like that. I think this could eventually lead to like a ending the game sort of a thing. It kind of reminds me like a protect the queen sort of spell, where if you protect this and let it gain advantage just over time, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be nutty. It's gonna feel good too. And then 20, copy each card exiled with Wizard Spellbook. You may cast any number of like those copies without paying their mana cost. This is the creme de la creme. Is that how you say it? Is that right? Yeah, getting this effect is gonna be bonkers. Having this around and turns, I guess it's gonna, if you don't cheat this in, like again, this is gonna be kind of a slow thing to get, and out of you getting this probably won't have too many spells under it. But if you get this and you've had this around for like 4 or 5 turns, like, ooh, that's some crazy value, right? Like 5 spells. And just like imagine the value out of this. It reminds me a lot of Mind's Dilation. It's an old enchantment from, I think it's Eldritch Moon, and essentially was just a 5 mana enchantment, maybe 6 or something. I know it's a lot. That essentially, whenever an opponent plays a spell, you can cast the first copy, or you can cast not a copy, but you can cast a spell on top of their library, and it could go ways where like essentially you can take over the game, but it was like that cool incremental value piece that would eventually could potentially close the game. I would put it as like win condition, that kind of thing. But like it would accrue value over time, and it would be kind of nutty how much value it could accrue because it's an enchantment, so it's harder to move, unlike this. But having that sort of thing, that sort of like permanent, is just always fun. It's always a fun thing to have, and this is cool to see. Another one of the decks. I don't know what kind of deck I want to put this in, but like I definitely want this in some deck. And if you have other shenanigans, to untap this, I'm gonna just untap it. Oof, you get pretty spicy real quick. Right, because every untap is just sort of like a card draw. More stuff to cop, more like the longer the 6th round, the more havoc it wrecks, right? So that's gonna be pretty spicy. This is definitely a spicy card. Geez, I wish I had a deck for this card, which kind of reminds me of that new card from the new Jumpstart. I won't talk about that now. So, anyways, let me know what you guys think about this card in the comments below. What deck you're putting this? What kind of blue deck wants? I'm assuming they want to have like a super heavy artifact heavy blue deck. That way they have a bunch of mana to cast this early. That way you can start accruing advantage. Like even if you exile your own card, I think it's totally fine as long as you have ways to protect this card. Like ramp into this super early, play 1 instant, and then start churning through people's. Just like using this for value, super as soon as you can seems like the way to play this card. But of course, let me know. Peace out.